Hey, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of the Mindshare Podcast. The show where we cut through the noise, say what most won't say, and give you real-world strategies to help you work smarter, build mindshare, and grow a business that actually makes you money. I'm your host, David Greenspan, and this is episode number 358. And today, we're tackling a topic that most people in this business avoid because it's, well, uncomfortable. But it's also real. And it's affecting way more of us than most people probably want to admit. Mental health. Loneliness. The emotional weight of being in one of the most isolating careers in the world. So everybody sees the highlight reels, right? They see the fancy listing photos, the champagne popping at closing, the vacation post with the hashtag top producer. But what they don't see, what most agents never talk about, is the silent struggle happening behind the scenes. The sleepless nights after a deal falls apart. The anxiety when your phone isn't ringing. The second guessing when it feels like no one's in your corner. This business can feel brutally lonely. And if you don't learn how to manage that side of it, if you don't develop the mental tools to handle the highs and the lows, it doesn't matter how good you are at marketing or sales. The loneliness will eat away at your motivation, your consistency, and eventually your success. So today we're talking about what's really going on under the surface, why this happens, and most importantly, what you can do about it starting right now. So why is real estate so damn lonely? Well, let's just call it what it is. Real estate's marketed as a social business. But in reality, it's one of the most isolating careers out there. Think about it. Most agents are working from home. We spend hours by ourselves in front of a laptop, staring at a CRM that doesn't actually talk back. You're making calls and getting ignored. You're following up and hearing no more than you hear yes. And even when you're around people, like at showings, networking events, open houses, broker meetings, wherever, it's still easy to feel alone because no one really understands the pressure that you're under. And there's a bottom line harsh reality to it all. Is that the emotional highs and lows of this business are intense. Like one day you're riding high, everything is good. A deal closes, a new client signs on. You feel absolutely unstoppable because we're in this hunter mindset, right? Eat what you kill. But if you don't, eat what you kill. If you don't even trap it, you don't kill it. You ain't eating. So like one day we're riding high and then the next day a deal falls apart. A lead ghosts you. And of course, we're sitting there, left questioning like whether or not you're even cut out for this job. Now, that is a constant yo-yo of emotion, and that is exhausting. And if you don't have people around you who actually get it, like totally understand it, who can ground you, keep you even keel, help you walk you off the ledge a little bit, it is so easy to spiral. And here's what I really want to make sure that we all understand right now. If you're feeling like this, you're not weak. You're not weak for feeling lonely. This industry is designed in a way that isolates you. And it's not just you. This is the nature of the job. This is what they don't tell you about when you're going to get your license in real estate school. Nobody actually explains this part of it to anybody. And most people don't even get into this business because they're thinking about what does tomorrow look like. Most people get into the business out of the sheer desire for the money. Look how much money I can make on a deal. I mean, we've talked about it in the past where, people get in because of freedom and flexibility. They like the freedom to do what they want. They like the freedom to not have to, go into a 9-to-5 job. They like the flexibility of doing what they want, the flexibility of not a 9-to-5 job. But nobody actually talks about the hours that have to go into it, the work that has to go into it, the behind-the-scenes stuff that nobody understands that has to go into it. Nobody talks about this stuff. And how the reality, too, is that you're an entrepreneur. You actually decided to start your own business. Forget if it's real estate, selling widgets, or whatever, building mindshare, right? Like, you got into this to help people with their real estate. You got into this to make good money. Yet, again, all the hats that we wear and all the time that's put in and all the effort that goes into the background and all the emotions that happen, there was zero preparation for any of that. Nobody ever did that. Nobody talked about it. Nobody said, hey, you're about to start this business, and I want you to know that you're going to spend a lot of hours by yourself and that it's all going to be on you. The entire thing is going to be your responsibility. And from marketing to prospecting to follow-up to, conversion and nurturing and actually doing the sale and doing the presentation. I mean, the showings and you name it, all the messages. And I mean, when we talk even about messages, my mind immediately goes to the fact that like most people in this business are so rude. When we talk about ghosting, it's not just clients ghosting, but it's like other agents ghosting each other, not wanting to collaborate and do deals together. So again, it's lonely. You're on your own. And there's so much riding on your shoulders from both serving your clients' needs as well as serving your own needs and those of your family. So the first thing we've got to do here when we really pose the question of like, why is it so damn lonely? We've got to always have an action step, right? What can we do about this? We've acknowledged it. We've put it out there. We just said, hey, you're not alone. You're not the only one. And that's really the action step right there, is to acknowledge the loneliness instead of ignoring it. Instead of just letting it bother you for how much is on your plate and how much you have to do and just sitting with it, just acknowledge it. Hey, yeah, that's what this business is about. Like, put it out there, make it a statement. Let your brain process it that way. So the first step in solving any problem, is naming it. And again, those of you that I work with when we talk about helping you, really take your potential and turn it into profit, those of you business owners that rely on us to help you work through challenges and problem solve and get creative and business plan and help you maximize your time so you maximize your ROI, we collectively, over our time together, and I'm sharing this with anybody who's not even working with us just yet, but we talk about, the 3 steps to solving any problem. And the first step is to really analyze the situation, understand what it is that's going on. And in this case, we just said it. It is a lonely business. So let's not ignore that. Let's put it out there. It is a lonely business. Well, the second step is to define your role. Well, my role, like it's my business. I'm the one, like I'm the main character. Okay, that's a good acknowledgement, because if you weren't, this may not be the same type of problem, or maybe it's going to need different solutions. And there's the third step when we talk about solutions, is to determine the potential outcomes. What could potentially happen if? And now really what you do is you picture, sort of standing up and you're looking ahead of you and there's a door. But instead of just one door, I want you to think about, 3 doors. Maybe it's 4 doors. Maybe it's 5 doors. On each door, there's a sign, and the sign has a solution. And some of those solutions you might write down, and I want you to go to both extremes. Like what's yeah, I'd go that way. And then what's stuff that you might turn around and say, like, there's no way in the world I would do that. Well, there may not be any way in the world you do it, but when we talk about a solution, it is an option. So write it down. And now when you put that on the sign on each of the doors, and each door has its own solution, you can look and say, well, I would never do that. Okay, great. Then lock that door. Don't even go through it. What's left? And we go through process of elimination. So again, instead of, ignoring the whole thing, we're acknowledging it. And the first step in solving anything is naming it. And that's exactly what we did when in step 1 of 3 steps to solving a problem, we analyzed the situation. Now, if you've been feeling isolated, if you've been, carrying that mental weight, like many do, you got to stop pretending everything's fine. Just admit it. Like, admit that there's an issue. Own the issue. Then start taking action on the issue. And again, there's the major difference there. If you sit there and let it just, ruminate in your mind, and you don't come up with a name for it, and you don't actually analyze the situation and define your role and determine potential outcomes, then all you're doing is really just wearing the weight of all of this without actually actioning anything. And that's what we need to do is once we actually determine the potential outcomes and we choose one, now it's time to start taking action. So looking ahead then, you say, what is that? What happens when I stay isolated, right? What's really that hidden cost of let's call it the hidden cost of isolation? And I mean, talking about that, what happens when the loneliness that we're suffering through goes unchecked? Because it's not just about, feeling a little down, every once in a while. We're talking about the fact that, like, this type of stuff can have real consequences on your business. Real issues. Lack of motivation, lack of drive, lack of desire, lack of confidence. And all that lack is not in any way, shape, or form pushing you forward or making you a better version of you for your clients. In fact, what it does, this, again, when we think about, what's actually going on when we stay isolated, well, it makes us lose perspective, right? On who we are, on what we do, on what we bring to the table, on how good we are, on what our true desires and intentions are for our clients. And then every setback, everything that goes wrong starts to feel like it's catastrophic. It's the end of the world. Because again, it's we're not just a little down anymore, right? So like one bad month turns into, this whole, identity crisis. Am I fit to do this? Am I really good? We talk about imposter syndrome. We start thinking. And then it becomes really, really, really hard to zoom out and take that sort of bird's eye view, like, jump up in the hot air balloon and look down on life and see the bigger picture. It's very difficult because we're so stuck in our minds about what's going on and what's going wrong. The next thing that does when we talk about the hidden cost is you lose consistency. And I've said it so many times before, but consistency is the magic ingredient to achieving anything we want in life. And when nobody's around to hold us accountable, obviously it gets easier to kind of take our day, sort of fly by the seat of our pants, not structured, skip the phone calls, push back the follow-ups because I'm just not feeling it, or I'm going to take today off altogether because you know what? Like, fuck it. I don't feel like working. And again, all of that is because of the mindset, the deeper rooted issues that are going on right now, this isolation we're having, this loneliness we're having. And when that forces us to lose consistency, well, again, you know how this business is. Any business is like this. Life is like this. Consistency is everything. But if we lose that consistency, now we're not doing, we're not executing. And therefore, we're not achieving, which then makes it further, compounds it further and continues to make it worse. And we begin to all out lose belief in who we are. And this really is the most dangerous part of it all. Because once you stop believing in yourself, you start to pull back. You show up as a, less confident version of you. You show up smaller in your own mind. And it's very hard to stand tall and big and be confident when you're feeling like that. And before you know it, the consistency of that part of things actually puts you into a cycle that's hard to break. And this isn't a result of laziness. It's not even a lack of caring. It's that isolation, loneliness, for anybody, in any situation, will slowly start to drain that drive that you have. And the worst part is, unfortunately, people never see it happening until it's too late. Like, you actually don't notice it. It just continues to compound and compound and compound, and slowly but surely, one day at a time, because we're not taking action, we're not acknowledging what's going on, we lose that perspective, we lose that consistency, we lose that belief. And then what? What do you do? How do you deal with it? And this is all very real. And I got to imagine when I say you, and one thing you need to know is when we do these podcast episodes, I am, although I'm here in the studio and I'm speaking, essentially to a microphone, to my screens and all this recording stuff, I'm really trying to speak to you. You and me right now. It's just the two of us. And so when I say that and I make assumptions that you're quite possibly nodding your head in agreement with me right now, I do realize, and I'll go a little bit more general than just you right now, I do realize there's going to be some of you who probably sit there and go, nah, man, I'm good. I'm kicking ass. I'm feeling like $1,000,000. And I got to tell you, I'm super pumped to hear that. I'll also tell you that through the work that I'm fortunate to be able to do with so many of you, I have learned that even the most confident of you, us, all go through our ups and downs. Mindset takes a toll on everybody at some point in a day, week, month, year, life. It happens. It's real. It's just real. So there's nothing to hang your head about on that. More importantly, like we said, acknowledge it. So an action step here, and remember, every time I say the word action step, you want to take notes on that, okay? You want to write this stuff down. This is the type of stuff for you that you should be doing as you walk away from an episode like this, because I'd also say it. I mean, one, if you're here just because you love the sound of my voice, I mean, that's cool, I guess, but I'm taking a stab at it that's not why you're here. You're here because you enjoy learning. You're here because you have something you're trying to solve for you. You're here because you're feeding your brain right now, and this is another way to do that. And yeah, sure, you're here because you enjoy this show, and I sincerely, I thank you for that. In saying that, my big goal with this is to help you. It's not just to speak to a microphone. It's not just for you to listen to me for 40 minutes, 60 minutes, whatever it is, 30 minutes sometimes, right? It's not that. It's for you to take action. It's for you to become a better version of you. So again, the action step right now is to do a quick self-check-in. You could even do it right now if you wanted to. Ask yourself, am I showing up the same way I was, say, 6 months ago? And if the answer is no, for example, if you're calling less, you're creating less content, you're engaging less, you might not have a motivational problem, but you might have a connection problem. So again, as we talk to perspective and consistency and losing belief, do that quick check-in. Am I showing up the same way I was 6 months ago? And maybe 6 months ago you look and go, man, I was in a bad place 6 months ago. Okay, so go back 12 months ago. And in fact, if you can't find a window of time where you feel amazing, I'm gonna challenge you. Go back to where you had your best year. What were you doing then that you're not doing now? What's fallen off for you? Where could you improve? Okay? The hidden cost of isolation is very real. And as again, it sits there and it just percolates in our brains. It can be a very scary place to be, and it can bring us way down to the point where we are nowhere close to productive. So again, your first action step today was to acknowledge the loneliness instead of ignoring it. Name it. Stop pretending everything's fine. Admit it. Own it. Go through those 3 steps to managing stress that I said. And the second step here was do a quick self-check-in. Are you showing up the same way you are now as you were, and forget 6 months and putting a timeline, as you were in your best year yet? All right, let's take a quick commercial break here. This episode of the Mindshare Podcast is brought to you by our friends at Kit's Keep in Touch Systems, your ultimate marketing and CRM platform to help you build mindshare and get more market share and really have your database working for you 24/7 to drive a ton of repeat and referral business. REM Real Estate Magazine, your trusted voice of Canada's real estate industry for over 30 years, bringing you the stories, the strategies, and the insights that matter most. At Revel Realty, a modern, full-service brokerage helping agents elevate their business through cutting-edge marketing, next-level training, and a true culture of collaboration. I encourage you, please, and I ask you, support the brands that support Mindshare, and more importantly, the ones that will help you grow your business. Now back to our regularly scheduled program. How to rebuild connection and protect your mental health. Let's get into that, okay? How to rebuild that connection and really protect that mental health of ours. Because, well, this is a serious topic, and as you know, the world likes to talk about it for about a minute on one day of the year, and everybody says, yeah, I'm going to talk about this, I'm going to make a big deal about it, and then seconds later they're going to forget about it. That's not a solution. And as I like to do on this show, I want to talk about solutions, because staying stuck in this place of isolation, it's not an option when you want to build a successful business. So here's what we can do starting right now. And again, we're solving this issue of the loneliness, of the mental health issues, of the fact that things aren't going the way you want them to. And I'm taking this opportunity to do this with you right now because as we're starting to close out 2025 and roll into 2026, there is no way in the world that we carry the negative baggage of this year into next year. And of course, next year will bring upon its own negativity. It will also bring up, upon a ton of positivity, a ton of opportunity. In a sense, in essence, that's what we're trying to build up to right now. But again, we need to take action. And that's something I want to keep coming back to. It's about action. So again, what can we start doing right now? Well, one, build a support network and do this like very much on purpose. Okay? Waiting for anything to happen organically, I mean, you're just waiting. But when you actually go out there and you try to find accountability partners, you join a mastermind. And again, we had our Mindshare Mastermind in September. We've got an amazing group of people. And of course, every year we've got some new faces joining us. And every year we've got a lot of our original faces that continue to come back because they feel the culture. They feel the community. They have found their support network. So accountability partners and joining a mastermind, hiring a coach. When we talk about building a network, it's about surrounding yourself with people who understand this business that you're in and can support you through your highs and lows because they go through the same thing. They've been there before you. They're there in the same, shoes as you. They're going through it right now. You guys can talk about it. You can talk about the highs. You can talk about the lows. You can compare war stories. You can help each other understand that, look, you're not alone. It's not just you. Furthermore, you can find solutions together because you're each going through your own unique challenges that truly are somewhat similar in so many different ways. So really work to build that network, right? Because if you sit there by yourself and you don't take action to build the network, you will continue to be by yourself. It takes work. You can't just sit around waiting for it to happen, though. Another one here is to create structure. Even if you're a one-person show, which you most likely are, but treating everything you do in a 24-hour window as if that thing you are doing in that moment is the most important thing in the world. And I always come back to this in real estate. If you were in a listing presentation right now trying to get that listing, would you pick up the phone and answer a phone call? Would you check your email? Would you scroll social media? Would you decide to just take a look at the scores in the hockey game or the baseball game? No. You stay 100% locked in and focused on that listing presentation. So when we talk about structure, this is literally going through your schedule the night before and setting a whole bunch of meetings with yourself. Doing your weekly check-ins, reviewing your KPIs, those key performance indicators. In fact, we talked about some of those, I think last show or 2 shows ago. See, when you create structure, you give yourself direction. And direction builds momentum. If there's no structure, you're getting in the car, you're putting on a blindfold, you're trying to pull out of your driveway, you don't even know if you're going forward or backwards, and then you know which way you're going to turn and where you're going to go and how you're not going to hit anything and how you're actually going to make it to where you want to go if you can't see where you're going. Kind of dangerous. Certainly not a recipe for success. But again, when you've got the plan and you can see, minute by minute, whether you're scheduling 15-minute blocks, 30-minute blocks, 60-minute blocks, 90-minute blocks, most of the tasks we have in a day, some of them are 15 and some of them are 90. But you set those up, and that includes time for you. That includes time with your family and loved ones, if you're living with anybody else. These all have to be structured into the schedule so that there is actual structure. Because if there's not structure, then you're running around like a chicken with your head cut off, trying to achieve something that you can't even see. I'm going to say it's pretty much impossible to get there. So we talk about building a support network. We talk about creating structure. How about talk about what you're going through? And actually, that's exactly why I'm bringing it up today. Because I want you to know it's not some stigma that just you have. You're not the only one. We all go through it. The ups and the downs, the highs and the lows, the successes and the failures, the trials and tribulations. Like, we all go through it. But you got to stop bottling it up. See, the more you share, the less power those thoughts will have over your mind. And the more you share, it's amazing how you start to surprise yourself about how many other people are actually going through the same thing. I mean, I know when I get up on a stage and one of our, in fact, depending on the keynote we're doing, I've got a few of them that pose a question off the top, and the question's different but similar. And it's meant to get everybody in that room on the same page right at that moment. Who's feeling like this? I've got one where it's like a person walking up a mountain with a boulder on their back. And just picture that visual right now. Walking up a mountain with a boulder on their back. Does that seem easy? Or does that seem hard? In fact, does that parallel to the way you feel like you're doing every single day? Now think about how heavy that is. But then think about, what if I talked that out with people? How much lighter would that whole thing feel if I realized I was not carrying it alone? It's not just me. It's not just me. This is why we talk about what we're going through. This is why I bring it up today. In fact, I'll say this too, and I actually said this a moment ago, but taking care of you and scheduling that time in and going to the gym and reading and feeding your brain, and you're feeding your brain right now. And I am so sincerely grateful and appreciative that you are spending your valuable time listening to my voice, and we can consider that together feeding your brain. It's awesome. Like, you come to my show to listen, to learn, to take in. You have to understand that again, when I say that, means the world to me. I'm on the same playing field as you. Okay, we all go through our own shit. We all go through our own problems. We all have the same 24 hours in a day. Time is that valuable. And you're spending your time here. I can't thank you enough for that. And that's you investing in your mindset. And I'm going to say to you, and that's another, another what you can do when we talk about rebuilding that connection and really working on your mental health. What can you do? It's to invest in mindset. It's to, invest in mindset as much as you invest in your marketing. A podcast like this, reading a book, going to therapy, which is such a stigma for people, mentorship, whatever helps you stay mentally strong. It's not a luxury, okay? Look at it as a business expense. Because if your mindset collapses, everything else follows. And it's interesting because I've had this conversation about Mindshare 101, and about coaching and about what we do to help people. And, are we just coaching people? And the answer really is no. I mean, yes, but no. We started to turn around and say, like, what is it that we're actually helping people with? And I mean, we've kind of come to this realization that we're helping people turn potential into profit. We're helping people turn potential into profit. And we're doing this through working with individuals, business owners, and understanding what's their challenges, what's going on in their mind, what's happening in their business, in their life, what's holding them back from success. And as we're all unique, we are all unique, and much the same though, we're all very similar. We all go through a very similar journey. It's just a little bit of a different story, different characters, different issues. Yet it's crazy because so many people look at, this idea of coaching. I don't need it. What's that going to do for me? Or I don't have the money for that. But again, this isn't a luxury. This needs to be looked at as a business expense. Because again, if your mindset collapses, like we said, everything else follows. Well, much the same. If you can keep your mindset strong, everything else follows. So again, building a support network. Like, what can we do today? We can build a support network. We can create structure. We can talk about what we're going through. We can invest in our mindset. So your action step here, pick one of those 4 actions and commit to it. Like this week, start now. Not someday, not, when I get around to it or when things slow down. No. Like this week. Message somebody. Set up an accountability check-in. Join a group. Join the Mindshare Collective, our online community if you're not part of it yet. You have no idea. There's a whole bunch of people in there that are all going through the exact same thing, that are talking about problems, that are sharing with each other, that are relying on each other to help each other. There's an accountability group. Book a session with somebody. You want to book an Explore call with us and talk to us more? Do it. You want to do it with somebody else? Do it. But just start something. Do not sit there and continue to stew and ruminate in your mind because it's not driving you forward. We need to take action. So pick one of those 4 and do it. Commit to doing it this week. Okay. I'm going to give you 3 daily habits that are going to help us all stay very grounded. But you got to commit to these 2. This has to be part of your daily plan. This has to be part of your routine. It's got to be part of your daily method of operation. Okay, so we'll end with these 3 habits because I want you to stay consistent. I want you to be in control. And I know that just listening to me and spending, whatever it is we've been here together, 40 minutes or 30 minutes or whatever we are right now, it's a dose. It's a dose of positivity. It's a dose of structure. It's a dose of learning. It's a dose of mindset. But it's just a dose. I mean, that's why I release it every week, right? So you can keep coming back for more. Much the same. It's what are you doing in between that time? So here's what I'll give you. Some daily habits, okay? Never mind just weekly, but one of them. Reach out to one person every day. Okay? Not a cold call. I'm talking a real conversation. Could be a client that you know well. Could be a friend, a colleague. Could be a mentor that you have, somebody that has been there before you, maybe that's older than you, more successful than you. Somebody who gets it. Right? Connection is a muscle. And just like our muscles in our body, we have to build it. And the more that we connect with people and the more we have conversations with people, the more we're going to get that bare bones dopamine dump in our minds. It just feels nice to have conversation. It feels nice to talk to somebody else. It feels nice to to sort of be involved and not isolated. Alternatively, you sit in your mind all day. You don't talk to anybody. Of course, that mind is just going to wander. In this case, again, we're going to connect with somebody, have a real conversation. We're going to be able to share a little bit, and we're going to do that today, and then we do it again tomorrow. And instead of having like days and days or weeks and weeks of just compounding and building up in our brains, it's like every day we're releasing it. Every day we release. Another one here, too. Celebrate one small win. I'm actually willing to bet you got a lot more than one, but at least one. Like, even if your day was total chaos, there's no way you can't find one thing that went right. Maybe it was you got up on time. Maybe it was you got your kid to their sports on time. Maybe it was the fact that you brushed your teeth or even flossed your teeth. Ha. Right? Find something. Maybe you did something amazing for a client. Maybe you executed on your entire schedule today. Maybe you finally mustered up the nerve to post the video, or send out the email, or make the cold call or the warm call, or track your goals, or read a book, or go to the gym. I mean, the list goes on. Find one thing that went right. Maybe it's a conversation. But small wins, they build momentum, right? They build more momentum. And the more we're winning in these small little increments, and again, this is where I come back to, and again, to all my clients, current clients right now, and those of you that are potential, you got to understand this stuff. When my current clients get it, this is why we track daily. We track the schedule daily. We track the goals daily. Because those small wins build momentum. They start to build up confidence. Confidence leads to more success. More success leads to more confidence. It's just this amazing, amazing cycle to be part of, right? So again, a second idea here when we talk about 3 daily habits, celebrate one small win each day, at least one. And the third one here, set one non-negotiable task for your day. Something that truly moves you forward every single day. And I can tell you, I know exactly what it is for me. What is it, Dave? Oh, I'm glad you asked. It's scheduling the next day. Okay, it's taking time today to plan for tomorrow. That's a huge one for me. Okay, because I know that when I plan my day today for tomorrow, or I planned today yesterday, and I get up today and I start executing on my day, well, I know as I move through my day to an order, to a plan, without that blindfold. There's no blindfold. I'm not the chicken with his head cut off. I know why I got up. I know what I'm supposed to be doing. I know that what I'm supposed to be doing is very much in line with what my goals are. I see that it's structured in my schedule. And so I know when I wrap up doing what I'm supposed to be doing, there was a win. And then I also know that I've got a plan for what I'm doing right after that. And when I finish that, there's also a win. And slowly but surely, as I move through my day, I continue to win. You know, again, 15-minute increments, 30-minute increments, 60, 90 minutes, whatever that increment is, that meeting, that appointment in your schedule, you do that, and that's a win. And when you finish it, you're going to know you made progress. You're going to feel it, right? And that momentum, again, continues to compound. So one small win to another small win to another small win to another small win. So I said to you in step 2 there, celebrate one small win. Well, step 3 was, again, set one non-negotiable task. And for me, it's to plan for the next day. Again, I plan for the next day. I get up the next day and I got a plan. Then I look back on my day and I say, hey, I did amazing. So what's that non-negotiable? Plan again for tomorrow. And then here we are again, getting more done in a day than most people get in a week. Not because we're better, not because we're smarter, not because they're stupider, but we're planned. We've set this non-negotiable task to keep us grounded, to keep us moving forward, to help us build that momentum. So your action step here, write these 3 habits down, put them somewhere you're going to see them every single morning, and make them part of your daily non-negotiables. Again, reach out to one person, celebrate one small win, and set one non-negotiable task. That's how we continue to win. That's how we continue to do better. So here's the reality, okay? The truth, the hard, blunt fact. Real estate, entrepreneurship, running your own business, it's lonely. But lonely doesn't have to mean alone. See, for every single person listening to this right now, even those of you who think you're crushing it or know you're crushing it, I know that everybody has felt this weight. At some point, you're either feeling it right now or you felt it before or you might feel it again. I know that most people have questioned if they're good enough. Most people wonder if they should maybe just walk away. Most of you have had those, 3 a.m. sort of like nights where you're staring at the ceiling wondering, is this all worth it? What am I doing? But you know what? Those who are succeeding, those who are winning, the reason is because they kept going. They built support. They took control. They created momentum. And I'm telling you right now, you can too. So don't isolate. Do not stay quiet. And do not give up. If this episode hit home for you at all, if you know somebody who needs to hear it, please share it. And if you haven't yet, I'd love to ask you, I'd be super grateful if you could leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. It helps us keep spreading this message. It helps us help more people and reach those people who really need it. As you know, I'm David Greenspan, and this is the Mindshare Podcast. Thank you to Kits, Rem, and Revel for sponsoring today's episode, and thank you for tuning in.